Hey guys, it's Brandon Miniman from Pocketnow.com. A lot of people, including myself, are super excited about the Motorola Droid X. This is Verizon's answer to the EVO 4G because it has a massive 4.3-inch display, it's super thin, it has HDMI out, it's got a very fast processor, a ton of RAM. This is a very high-end smartphone indeed. So I'm excited to get to the unboxing. Let's do it. And so we've already covered the Droid X a little bit with some first look videos, but in this series we're going to go through and cover it more in depth with a formal software review and hardware review and an overall review, just like we do with all major other phone releases. Let's see what we have here. Alright, wow, this is a really small box. It also feels a little crappy, I must say. Really small box here, Droid X. I'm actually surprised that there is a device inside this box with a 4.3-inch display, but I guess they're trying to save on packaging. So let's look around the box. Included is a 16GB micro SD card. That's great to see the capacities keep being bumped up. I remember when they started to include micro SD cards a few device generations ago, they were 2 GB and 1 GB. Now we're up to 16 GB. Very nice looking phone. I'm really excited to finally have some hardware buttons to play with. The HTC EVO 4G and the HTC Desire, they don't have physical buttons down here, so they're difficult to feel for. Anyhow, let's open up. Very, very nice. Minimal packaging. We'll set the device to the side. Gonna have to put the battery in. I feel that vibration that people have been talking about when you tap on the back there. Alrighty. Tiny little wall charger. Micro USB. Looks like a real metal back battery cover. That's good to see. And a battery that is of size 1500 milliamp hours. Getting started guide. There are never any interesting accessories that come with phones these days as the carriers try to save on cost a little bit. So let's get the battery inside of the Droid X, get a feel for the size next to some other devices, and then we'll turn it on for the first time. So pop this in. Alright, and you can see the 16GB micro SD card is already in there. So I'm going to bust this open and take off this piece of plastic, soft touch rubber on the back here, and put this in. Okay, got the cover on there. Nice and secure, I think. Very streamlined right here, and then you get this hump, which I actually like this design compared to the EVO 4G. So we've got some notes up here, volume up and down, power lock, headset jack, security warning. Alright, not so interesting. Wow, very nice device. The screen doesn't feel and look as large as the EVO 4G or the HTC HD2. Very nice looking device. It is big in hand. Very large in hand. It feels slim. Like I said, it feels smaller than the EVO 4G, which I always thought felt very, very large. We have the HDMI output here. We'll have to test that. Micro USB, power, 3.5mm headphone jack, and a lot of other goodies that we'll take a look at. Let's turn this on for the very first time, and while it's turning on, we'll compare it to other devices. So let's look at it next to the HTC HD2. This device also has a 4.3-inch display, but I think thanks to the thin bezel, the HD2 actually appears to have a larger screen. I don't know if you can perceive that on your end. And in terms of thickness, it's really hard to tell because the Droid X has this little hump up here where the camera is. But you can see this part is about as thick as this part. Okay, we'll continue the comparisons in a sec. Let's touch the Android to begin. I'm sure this is going to be just a standard, getting started of any Android phones. We have to activate the phone. We'll go through that later. Let's continue comparing it to other devices. I'm going to shut off the screen for now. Here it is next to, it wants to stay on. Here it is next to the iPhone 4. And now it's talking to me. The iPhone 4 obviously has a much smaller screen, 3.5 inches. In terms of thickness, the iPhone 4 definitely looks thinner, but if you're judging it from the glass to the glass and not just the metal piece. It's actually the same thickness as the Droid X. And next to another Android phone, the Google Nexus One, the Droid X looks pretty darn massive. So a lot more coming up on the Motorola Droid X. This is going to be a big contender in the smartphone industry with such a large screen and powerful hardware offering. And I really like this button over here in the upper right corner. You don't see many smartphones have a dedicated camera button, but it comes in handy. It's a little bit annoying having to press the shutter button on the screen, as is the case with a lot of phones out there. So a lot more coming up. As I said, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to find out when the latest video hits, and please give the video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. That's it for now.